7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hallo Massakinders, it's the Faceless Vape here and welcome to Talking Vape South Africa, the first episode for 2021. I hope you all are doing very well and that you're having a good 2021 so far and things aren't that hectic. So yes, I'm the Faceless Vaper with the face. And we've got some guests of us tonight. We've got Mr. Khan. We're going to add Verdict very soon to the live, so you'll see the video moving around when we get Verdict on. And then we've got Craig here. So yeah, we're going to start off. I'm going to start off, and we've got some guests. We're speaking there, Verdict. Don't speak, not yet. So Verdict is joining us a bit late, so we got to add him. So Khan, why don't you quickly start off, and while I'm adding Verdict, tell the people how you're doing and what you are vaping on.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I hope I get to see the comments soon, but it's great to have the show again after a couple of delays. So we're supposed to have one in December, but unforeseen circumstances, we let that one down. We were supposed to have one last week, but anyhow, that's it. Assalamu alaikum, good evening, welcome everyone. And all those that are ill, we pray for you guys to get well. Quick one, I'm just going to run through my devices that I'm using. I've got an August with the XL Pro, and on there I am running some Outcast. I can't seem to put this orange down. My other device is the Groove with the got me, and I've got some like jellies that I'm running on that one. And then obviously, we need the RTA in rotation. Finally got one of these RTAs, Vitality by QP, and I'm vaping malt strawberry. If you can see that, malt strawberry, and then obviously, it looks like I'm going on holiday. And then my quad that I've been using since last year with some like a game over. That's what I got running, and yeah, slightly of a nicky, but yeah, that's what we need to keep us going through these times. So when you're sitting at home, working from home, all we do is vape. Over to our guest that we have this evening. I'm sure he doesn't need any introductions, but let's just do one formal introduction. Great from BigGuy Vape, from Sir Vape. I hope I said it in the correct order. The man with the greyest beard in the industry, the smallest guy in the industry as well, size-wise, all the way from the Dell. Welcome, Craig. Thanks for giving up some of your busy time to join us.
Thank you very much for having me. It's always nice to be on other people's shows when you don't have to worry about pushing all the buttons and stuff like that. It's just I'm trying to find something if I can hear, and choose nuts when you're trying to find something you won't find it, but I found it. Obviously, the scenario is I've been told that I've got to tell you what I'm vaping on, and I said, how long is the show? Because obviously I've got a lot of shit, and I vape on a lot of stuff during the course of the day. So I'll start. I've got the same as what I was vaping the other day. I've got my little clear dot mod with the vape shell inside from Atmos Zoo, and inside that I've got Heisenberg liquid, which is a menthol. That's the one thing I'm vaping on. And I got my Danny 21700 with a Dorf ethyl on the top. And it's my favorite juice of all kind, which is Ripe Vapes VCT. Never go without that. And if I ever run out of that shit, people must be careful because I will take you out if you've got a bottle. Then I got my Suicide mech that I'm busy using with the Nightmare 28mm RDA, and inside that I've got I always forget what the pink camera is, the pink berry from Milk, which I'm baking inside there. And I've got the Paranormal also with the Dwarf, and inside that I've got exclamation in it. I revamped DripTech Ds with the shit. Now I've gone blank. What the name is this RDA?
Ocular
RDA. And in here I've got Cake Sale, the custard cake. And then the last one I'm vaping on, which is my Stratum limited edition mod with the ether, and I've got Dinner Lady lemon tart. So that's what I'm vaping on currently in front of my desk.
Okay.
Like before we go on, there was you wanted to commit suicide earlier. Can you just show us?
Go on.
I'm backing to hear you, but that fan I think is blowing on your mic to a point where I can't actually hear a word you're saying. Dude.
All right. Is that better, Greg? Greg, is that better?
A little bit better, yeah.
Okay. You were going to commit suicide earlier on with a mod that you had in your hand. Can you just lift it up again, please? But yeah. Is that a sleeve that was done, or is that was one of those ones that you got specifically out for you?
No, this is my son. He's got a business called OG Leather and 3D printing, and he obviously anything new that we get in, if he can make something for it, he makes something for it, and then he puts it up on the website. So it's one-off type of things that he did. So he made this sleeve. He's made a couple for guys who bought just a 3D printed in various colors. So he made this what he calls Damascus looking sleeve for my suicide.
Awesome. That's what caught my it's just amazing. That's chair, eh?
Awesome. Thank you, Craig. We're still struggling to hear you, Con. Maybe you must try and get the headset into your phone or something, but you're breaking up very badly now.
Let me try that.
So, Craig, welcome to your first time on the show. We're looking forward to listen to you when Con gets back, talk a little bit about Sir Vape, about your vaping journey. But with that, over to the Duracell bunny of the team, the one that can't sit down, the Verdict. Verdict, how are you doing? How's 21 treating you?
What's up, Ino? What's up, Craig? Yeah, what's up, everybody? Facebook, people are working tonight. I'm vaping on I have just as many devices running at the same time. I'm only kidding. So this evening I'm vaping on the Vapor Racer V1 and the Asgard Mini. And I'm vaping on Morning Glory. I know it's evening time, but I'm vaping on Morning Glory from Tri Flavor Labs, the soda float. And then I'm also having creamy pancakes by Nailed It in the latest thing kind of craze coming out, the jelly box with Fatality. But otherwise I'm good. I know I'm fantastic. Thank you for
asking, my brother. It's good to see you again. We haven't spoken this year, but it's good to catch up now. So what am I vaping on? I've got the Gore 21. I'm loving this big boy. I've got 15,700 hits on this since I got it. So it's all I've been vaping almost this year. With the Violator on top with some Just Juicy. The banana, mango, and strawberry pineapple. Very nice. Awesome in the Violator. Then I've got some Volk in-house e-liquids. The toffee. Awesome toffee. In the Asgard on top of the ThinkVape DNA Oxo 250C. Loving the mod. And then I've also got the August GT with another Asgard on top with some of this new goodness, Majestic Queen. Guava, passion fruit, pineapple, and I don't know how they do it, but this is some of the most complex fruit juices where you get so many different profiles and different wattages. So yes, that's what I'm vaping on. Good evening to everyone in the chat. I see Facebook is going off. In Facebook we've got Julian, we've got Sheldon, we've got Uncle Kurt there, Paul Filipides, and on YouTube we've got Greg, we've got Neil McCullum, one of the spanners from Bearded Viking Show, and we've got David Swepton. Thank you everyone for joining us. Throw a thumbs up there. I know the guys always say that helps your feed and stuff. So like the live, share it, comment, do whatever you can. We're going to try and get to some of your questions during the evening. We're also going to, when we do our top 20 of top juice and stuff from 2020, we're going to ask you what was yours. So yeah, we're going to do that. But first, we're going to talk a little bit more to Craig. And let's see if Khan's audio is fixed now.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Much better, guys.
Maybe. You sound like a heavy metal band. Drop your volume a bit.
Can you guys still hear me? No volume, anything?
There's still crackling there. But let's see. Let's try.
Is that better?
Say again?
Talk more than one word.
No.
You're breaking.
2 words, 3 words, 4 words, 5 words, 6 words.
You're breaking very
7 words, 8 words, 9 words.
Okay. Can't try and go for it. Let's see if we can. I'm gonna try and see, but there's nothing at the back end I can do.
All right. Craig, can you hear me, Craig?
I can hear you, but you are breaking up. But I'll try and decipher what you're saying. But I'll do a bit of lip reading. I'll sit like this.
All right.
Yeah.
Guys,
And I will translate
slowly, and I'll talk into the screen and watch my lips.
Okay, go for it.
I'll
Okay.
translate.
What I'll do is short questions, Craig, and then you'll be doing most of the talking, and I'll just sit and wait. Craig, before I think that's the most important thing is I'm sure a lot of guys have heard the history of why you started vaping, but for the best interest of those that have not, if you could just give a breakdown of what got you into vaping 2 months ago.
Okay,
Sorry,
so question correctly is you want to know how I started vaping and why I started vaping.
Yes.
Not too much, 12 and a bit years ago. Is that the right thing?
That's the right thing.
I lip read more than I heard. But no.
Awesome.
Yeah. So 12 and a bit years ago, I'd had these little devices and whatever. I don't know where I'd actually got them from, but I used to be a heavy cigar smoker, 6-7 cigars a day, and I smoked them. I didn't do mouth them. I actually physically smoked them, so my lungs were really bad. And I woke up one morning and I just couldn't breathe, and my wife had to smack me upside the head and upside the back and whatever to actually get the lungs going. And went to rush to hospital and all that jazz. And guys said, your lungs are so bad because of smoking. You know, if you don't actually quit, you'll be dead before you're 45. And that was obviously a bit of a earth-shattering comment to hear directly from somebody who I didn't even know. It was a doctor on call. So the first thing I did was when I got back home is got rid of all the cigars, and I had these devices, 2 or 3 of these devices that I don't know where I even got them from. And I thought, let me give this a try. And it was quite hard, obviously, because we don't have devices like these and these. You know, we didn't have those back then. And I was getting successful. You know, I didn't do anything that was habitual. I actually had to change my whole routine of what I did because I had such a routine of when I would have my first cigar, you know, when I'd have my second cigar, you know, etc. And I changed my whole lifestyle routine of how I did things to try and stop that. And eventually, I was really battling. And you know, there weren't twists in those days. There weren't any of those things around. I started seeing if I could get stuff in from overseas because there just wasn't anything actually locally here. Or there was, but it wasn't any good. I was trying the stuff, and I started to bring in the odd thing through mates and stuff coming from the UK or America or wherever to bring in these various devices. And it got to a point where I was off cigarettes for probably 2 years. Totally free. I went cold turkey on the vaping. I didn't pick up another cigarette or cigar thereafter. And my mates were saying, Craig, you're a total different person. I was attending sports functions and walking around my dogs and everything like that. And, can you help us? And so I said, what do you mean, can I help you? When you're ordering, would you mind ordering for us? And, can we try and whatever like that? And eventually I was doing 20, 30,000 Rand orders from all over the country and all over the world because of the connections that I've had through the finance industry of people flying all over the world, and I'd order, they'd go and collect it and bring it back. Those days it wasn't an issue getting through customs and stuff like that because nobody knew what the fuck it was, and bringing it back. And I said, I'm actually doing, my package is 2,000 Rand and I'm doing like 28,000 Rands worth of stuff for other people, not making. And so I decided, well, hey, let's give it a go and, maybe start a small little business, can pay for holidays or something like that. And unbeknownst to me, that was a couple of years later, unbeknownst to me, Hugo, at that point, we didn't know each other. I started a little Facebook page and I started getting customers all over. And unbeknownst to me, Hugo, who lived literally 500 meters as the crow flies, was doing a similar thing. And he started ordering from me and I started ordering from him. And eventually he said, well, let's do this together. And we both got on well with each other, and the rest is pretty much history. Yeah.
Awesome! It's an amazing story there. I think a few of us share the same sentiment, or not few of us. Whoever got into vaping has got it into because we wanted a better lifestyle, and that's where we went the same route with me. I mean, not as long as you, but I've been smoking. I smoked from 1985 till about 5 years ago, 4 years ago, or 2 months ago, and I haven't touched a cigarette. I can't go near that. I have a much better sleep at night. I wouldn't know about taste buds because that's just my opinion. I wouldn't know what something tasted before 1985.
But in there, the amazing thing is, though, is that only when you've actually quit cigarettes do you realize that things like lettuce actually have taste.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's absolutely weird, and you try to explain that to people, and you say, "Have you actually ever tasted what lettuce tastes like?" No. Okay, now quit smoking and then go taste lettuce. Yeah, it's weird.
And it's amazing the flavors that you just go through when the progression becomes a way of giving up something, and you get into you get into a family. It's like I don't drink alcohol, but I can relate to someone going to a pub and making buddies and talking nonsense to a party that you don't even know. But now you know someone, you become long-time mates because you swap in what flavors you're doing, what mods you're doing. A vape shop becomes a second home, and then you turn into a hobby because you want that, because you heard of this, and then you also have that group that talk shit about this one and that one. So it's like a community. It's almost like with me, I go to a smoke break.
That's the amazing thing with people. Unfortunately, your governments, your anti-tobacco, anti-this, anti-fucking everything, don't actually realize is that the community. There's no other industry that I know of in the world that crosses every single solitary border, crosses every single solitary ethnicity, and whether you are a millionaire, billionaire, or you are somebody who works in a government department or whatever the scenario may be, there is no boundaries. And like me, I would never, ever have made friends in the Muslim community because of what my industry was. I focused on white and not the race. I was in finance, and I dealt with farmers, the majority, and I would never have met as many Muslim friends and I call them friends now, but not only Muslim, but from every race, black, white, colored, Indian, whatever. And that's the amazing thing of what people don't see about the vape scene. I just wish that it was as nice a scene as it was 4 years ago when we landed the mothership we came from our small little shop into the mothership, because the camaraderie, you knew Friday afternoon was going to be an absolute jolt because all the guys were going to pull in. Everybody juices from all over the place, even though we were in the shop. You were tasting juices and you were talking and you were intermingling and ordering pizza and having cloud competitions. That's tend to have got, because we've obviously got more mainstream. That's tend to have been lost. But those are the days that I really miss, of those days where you actually bonded as a community. I just wish that, but also the nature of the beast, it's a disruptive industry. So, yeah, it's one of those things.
I think
I've been a soccer coach for many years. I met many people through soccer on the soccer fields. But vaping has totally changed. When I got into vaping, I actually stopped coaching because I had no time to coach anymore because I had this new thing that I was enjoying. Chilling at the vape shop, meeting buddies, meeting juice makers. I always compared to golf. When you went play golf and you pull up there with a Galloway set, everyone turns and looks at you and, whoa, check this guy out. And what vaping is immaterial, whether you're using a Denny, a dwarf, or a drop, a quad system, you accept it. You're a vapor. It's no one's judging you and sitting in the corner. Sorry, but we only got Denny's on the table here. You cannot join us, or we only vaping international.
That's a big problem, unfortunately, and that's also, as I said, sorry to interrupt there, Arno, it's the nature of the beast, and it's dog eat dog. It's any disruptive industry becomes into a dog eat dog because everybody wants a bigger slice of the pie, that's the one thing that I dislike of the industry is the animosity and the in your face but behind your back, which is prevalent in our industry. Any disruptive industry is like that, unfortunately, and it doesn't need to be like it, because we're going to get to a point down the line, and I'll have a puncher for vaping saved my life, is that disruptive industries, the government's looking more and more and more, and if any time is time to put all the bygones be bygones and get back to the old way of working as a community. Now's the time to do that. But again, it's
Craig. Everybody you say that we, myself and Bert, and maybe Faceless, we chat more to consumers than juice makers and vape shops. And the community, the vape consumer community, let me put it that way, is unbelievable how united we are and how well we get along. And it's just when like with us now, because we deal indirectly or directly with juice makers and vape shops, where you start getting all this. And myself and Bertie, they've gone on this campaign. We don't care whether Arno likes Craig or Craig likes Arno. At the end of the day, we in for the community. We in to ensure that we're all having good products, and that's it. We're not teaching this brand to that brand. And it's sad when we start unraveling and taking layers off. You actually see the shit, like how you mentioned, that happens behind the scene. And if we can put all that apart, America has shown us that, they were so disunited until the flavor ban came. And all the people and vendors and juice makers all stood together. Look, at the end of the day, you're a businessman, you worry about your business, but there's a bigger picture to that. And if we all don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, there is going to be no light. So it's things like what Kurt is doing, yourself is doing, that empathy. Kurt is knocking on guys' doors to join, and I'm not going to get into that politics, but the slack he's getting. So the thing is, guys, there's a common goal. This got us off that shit that we left back, where we walked in the house and it was like yesterday, my house on fire. Now it's just graded and everything. Now you walk into the house, you don't even know what your wife's cooking. Like I know you enjoy making vegetable stew quite often.
No, I do smoke.
I'm teasing. I know you like to smoke beef. Sorry, I just had to do that, Craig.
Well, I want to ask Craig a question. He said after he quit smoking, he started tasting lettuce. Does vaping turn you vegan or anything like that? Because then I'm stopping.
I'm the last person who's going to be a vegan. I can promise you that. No, but it's weird though. It's like from a personal note, it's like I couldn't eat things like yogurts and those type of things. But now that I've got my taste back, I enjoy those type of things just because you can actually taste it. You go take normal vanilla yogurt as a smoker and try and see if you can get taste of vanilla. No, you won't. But now taste it as a non-smoker, and it tastes totally. You're getting this and vegetable salad, whatever the scenario may be, even down to normal meats and garlic and whatever. It just tastes so much better now that you don't smoke.
Just moving away from the food aspect. I mean, when you have these complex juices and you get to taste every note of a flavor. Sometimes I wonder, maybe I'm a reborn chef or a taste connoisseur, because you get to pick up notes that you wouldn't have normally picked up in the flavor you had smoked. I mean, you take a normal flavor, you were maybe custard, the cake one day, that custard or whatever. You actually pick up that the cake layers. You actually taste it. It's like, am I really making this? And when you see all that yumminess, like what you do to make them front, it's like, should I get that or should I make some?
That's when I love hearing my customers that, and especially lockdown did amazing things for quitting, getting people to quit smoking. The amount of people that we have retained as customers that were smokers that went on to vaping, and they wanted their tobacco, they wanted their whatever, and we've obviously there's tobacco juices and stuff like that, but now they've progressed onto your drags and your whatever from the pod style devices, and they're like, wow, man, fuck, how tasty is this juice, and I can taste that there's hazelnut in there, or I can taste that that's Arabica coffee, and that's the amazing thing to see when they come off. I think I've told the story, I don't know, 20 times. When we first opened the first shop down by the racecourse, I got a telephone call. We always try to be service orientated, and I got a telephone call from a guy saying, look, I want to order the stuff, but I can't get to you. Is there any way that you can maybe drop it off with me and stuff like that? So I said, you're in Durban. If you're in Durban, not a problem. I can make a plan. And he ordered quite a big package of stuff. And just something said I need to go and talk to this guy, So it was out by Gateway, and I went to, it was Neotel in those days. I don't think they exist anymore, but drove out. Yeah, I drove out. Yeah, I was going to see a customer because I was still working at those days. I wasn't solely at the vape shop. So I said, no, I'm coming past you. I can drop it off for you. And I went into his room. He didn't even come out to greet me or anything. I thought, that's a little bit rude. I've driven all this way. And then I realized why. He was obese. I mean obese. Okay. And his doctor told him that he has to quit smoking because he needed a bilateral hip replacement. Okay. And if he didn't stop smoking and lose a little bit of weight, they weren't going to do the operation because his lungs weren't strong enough. And the doctor said, take up vaping because it's going to improve it drastically. So immediately I felt, when he told me the story, I said, not a problem. You phone us, we'll deliver it to you. Just don't pick up the cigarette. And we delivered to him for years and years and years and years. Eventually, obviously, I wasn't delivering. We would just send somebody to deliver the stuff with him. And then he fell off the radar. We saw the odd order come in and stuff like that. Then we moved to the new shop. And about a year into the new shop, this guy walked into the shop the one day, and I was there, and his name was Andre. And he said, how's it, Craig? How are you? Like, deer in the headlights. Who the fuck are you? I don't know you, but you know my name. So I'm trying to go through file 13 to figure out. It's Andre. The guy had lost his body weight. So he cut his body weight in half. He had his bilateral hip replacement, off the cigarettes and off vaping. He just thought he'd come in, walk into the shop and say, how's it, and thank you very much for getting him smoking. So, those type of things just keep you wanting to do that. When you see people, like his was the drastic lifestyle change, like, night and day, black and white difference. And those are the things that while we enjoy doing what we do, it's an amazing thing to witness that.
I think there's something similar with all the old ladies in Cape Town. Get them all, baby. No, but in lockdown, but he spoke that he met a few of the, elderly people in it. And he was on a little campaign that time, getting them off the smokes and onto what device. I think it was back when last year during our lockdown period.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. The demographic, the higher age people between like you can say 40 upwards till up till 65 that were doing MTL juices.
Are you calling
and pod systems?
Are you calling
yeah,
40 and 65?
Yeah, I'm listening to that as
okay,
well.
up to a 65-year-old. Yes, that I've helped like stop smoking. I mean, but they're still smoking. They know it's bad for them. But what else can they do for all that years? You know, what are the options? They see everything. They see the youngsters blowing it. Large smokes with these devices, but they weren't aware that there was pods and salts and MTLs and those type of things.
Our oldest customer, I think she's actually passed away because she hasn't ordered from us a while. Our oldest customer, 35 years old. And she every month, and we used to go and deliver it to the old age home for her. And she used to make pods. She was 85.
Craig,
I think myself and Craig looks younger than Arno and Buddy.
Well, I'm in my 40s as well, so Verdict is treading, must tread lightly there. Craig, Craig, I want to ask you something. You spoke a little bit about how the vaping scene changed. You touched on it. We're speaking about people's ages now, so we're talking about just over 18 years old vaping like Verdict, and then older people like us vaping. For me, I've only been vaping going on 4 years now. And for me, it's as if the whole vaping scene also changed from doing tricks and being the coolness to really starting to go into a situation of better quality of life and people not wanting to smoke and stuff. What's some of the stuff that you've noticed, for good or bad, in the vape industry in South Africa, maybe globally, that you've noticed, which is interesting facts that you've seen that has changed, perhaps?
I think it's, I get back to the disruptive industry. It's this scenario is if you go back 6 years ago, there was so few people in South Africa, and it was more about show than anything else. And you were helping the odd guy quit, whatever. Today it's commercialized. So anything commercialized comes with pros and it comes with cons. Pro is that it's more in people's faces, so you can get more people off. The cons is that people see it as a business opportunity, and they're not necessarily getting into the business for the right reasons. To help people quit smoking, they're getting in for the money. Yeah, you make money out of it, but there's a very fine line between being the what I want to say, the guy who honestly wants to help people get off cigarettes and is making a living from it, and then the person who gets into it to make money out of it, and so goes and sells a 65-year-old a drip shot fucking dual battery squonker. You know what I mean? It's but in saying that, with legislation that will come in place, and the best thing that could happen to this industry is regulation, because a lot of people look at me and say, "Fuck, Craig, but you're going to pay taxes, you're going to pay this, you're going to pay that." It legitimizes what we do.
Yes.
And I wish that it happened a couple of years ago. Maybe we would not have seen as much of the crap that actually does happen. I'm not going to get into it, but the crap that does happen behind the scenes in the vape scene, because it would be legitimized. And it's like you come to Steam Masters and you want to sell juice. If you're not a registered business with all your paperwork, you don't get it. It's simple and easy as that. So it's, I think the best way forward with our industry is it to be regulated. It's not to a point that it's actually ludicrous. TPD legislation, I'm all for TPD legislation. But for legislators like America, that's just fucking only after the money. Which I doubt will happen in South Africa, because South African government only wants the money.
I just spoke to someone in a vape shop yesterday, and I told him I think the best thing that can happen is legislation. I'll rather let us go the legislation way earlier than we end up like America. So I really think that's a good thing. Just something interesting that I've read yesterday on News 24. So please take it with a grain of salt. It's News 24. They said that it was either yesterday or today, but they said despite of lockdown, the tobacco industry made a huge profit last year, but Twisp went down 30%. And I was wondering if that wasn't because there's alternatives to Twisp now, that people are moving away from Twisp rather to, I think, better products. What's your take on that? Do you think that could be an influence on Twisp?
Look, Twisp is the best thing that ever happened to South Africa. So don't if anybody who hates Twisp and what they stand for and whatever like that, Twisp is the main reason for the bulk of people actually quitting cigarettes.
Yeah.
Twisp's downfall is the fact is they didn't evolve with the times.
Okay.
And and I've said this to people who actually work at Twisp, and they now are seeing it. Okay. If you call them Twispers or whatever you want to call them, they still 10 times what Kurt would have the correct figures, but they still 10 times what we would classify as a Twisper compared to a vapor, but with lockdown and with them not being able to trade and us trading, utilizing the legislation and slightly bending it and in accordance with the CBD and stuff like that, a lot of guys became aware of actually that there are things other than Twisp.
Yeah.
And we probably took on 5,000 new clients, maybe even more new clients through the lockdown period, and all of them, or the bulk of them, were Twisp users. And obviously smokers that obviously didn't want to pay the 2,500 rand for a carton of cigarettes.
Yeah.
And who've stayed, obviously, some of them have gone back to smoking, and others have stayed off smoking. But Twisp is a gateway to what we do, what vape shops do. But it's still the best thing to have ever happened. Obviously being taken over from that and then rebranding and launching. You've obviously also got to think, what is the rationale behind it? Where they're going to try and do? Are they going to try and guide legislation in their favor? So you've got to box a little bit clever. And the community, which you might not be aware of, but the community in the background is starting to bind together around Vipassana, and we now, they realize the good that we can do with that. And the vape shops are now coming to the party, and that's what we need. We need all the vape shops and juice makers and manufacturers to be on board, so that we've got some say in actually what happens in South Africa.
I've just got a question here. Just quickly want to check some of the Facebook stuff here. I'm seeing a lot of comments, but I've got one question here from a guy called Brent Palmer. He's asked something about Craig smoking a brisket, and he's never heard about it. If he can prove it on Sunday.
Yeah. I've for many years wanted to get into smoking meat, and not necessarily smoking like your cured stuff, but smoking in a pit smoker. And I bought one probably about 2 years ago, and I thoroughly enjoyed cooking in it. It was halal up until December of last year. The year before last, so it's more than long. December last year. The year before last, it was halal up until December, because obviously I do eat pork, but I said to all my Muslim friends who used to come around for bras that I'll keep that. Nothing haram will touch that thing until December, because December I'm going to put you a ham in it. And so we cooked a good couple of briskets in there for the boys, and it's num.
Okay, we take your word for that.
I'll come and try it.
Come down. Whenever you're down, shout. I'll put a brisket on.
I will definitely. I'm hoping to come down later this year.
The point that Craig was saying, as much as the vape shops and the juice makers need to get together, I think we as consumers also need to stand up, and maybe Kurt can give an outlay as well, where we can get all the consumers as well involved. I think unity, we stand together. And I mean, I've been watching what's happening in America, where they came out in hordes. So if we can do the same here, where we come together as one and not as different entities, and just stand together strong.
Ideally, that's the perfect world, is when you've got your consumer working with your brick and mortars or your shops. I stand to be corrected on the numbers. I'm assuming that we've got a couple of 100,000 of people that use some form of an electronic cigarette in South Africa. The bulk of them being the twist style people. If you've got those amount of numbers rocking up and signing petitions, although I don't honestly think petitions work, but if you've got faces behind what's going on, like on that Vaping Save My Life page where you can actually go load your testimonial, those type of things mean something. If you're looking at a piece of paper, you don't know who Arno is, you don't know who Khan is or anything like that. You just, who the fuck are you? If you see a video, the guy's like, hypothetically, Arno says, I've been for this years and I couldn't do this and I couldn't do that, and now I'm able to do this. And that's because that hits home, no matter how horrible a person you are, or ruthless of a person you are, or how stupid you are, it still hits a sensitive note where the person's got to make a decision. And those are the things that we need people to be doing. You know what I mean?
I think that is why Vaping Saved My Life is so important, to get those stories out there. And for those of you on the live who doesn't know, there's on Thursday evenings at 8:30, so that's why I'm watching our time now. Also on the Vaping Saved My Life, a show about Demystified, talking about the myths about vaping. And I think tonight they're speaking about Ivali, if I'm correct. I saw a post. Can anyone confirm that for me on the live here?
Yeah, I think Kurt's still in the comments, so maybe.
Yeah, so Kurt, you can maybe just drop it in the comments if you're there. Craig, it's so awesome to hear a story. I think that story about that big guy I think I saw on the YouTube chat, some people said that's such an awesome story. So I think one thing that gets vapers into it, gets us sometimes hooked on it, is the devices and the juices. So we have 15 minutes left. I think we should talk a bit of juice, a bit of devices. And unless Verdict maybe has something he quickly wants to ask for Craig, then we can quickly start doing our wrap of 2020 and tell the people what we liked in 2020. Verdict, you have any questions there?
Craig broke it down. No, I'm good. Craig broke it down there quite well. He's talking about biscuit. He made me hungry. So, a cheese. That's all good.
Okay, awesome. So what we decided is gone.
I know we fight time. Just one thing, Craig. Craig, with Kurt listening, I'm just thinking that what we can do is, I know we tried a while back to get guys to fill in petitions and that, but I think if vape shops, we get some sort of way to incentivize guys. When you come and visit Sir Vape or any other vape shop, do a 2-minute video in the store just about why you're vaping, and let's just start posting those type of videos. What we'll do on our side as well, we'll try to run sort of a campaign like that. Guys, do a video, drop it, share it, and I think from the consumer point of view, we can drive it. But if you guys from what we would call the shop side start running that down, and let's see what we can do.
We're always willing to try.
I think instead of seeing more hand checks and juice checks, let's see more videos on We Are Vape, South Africa, Ayaba, and things like that. Instagram, let's drop that little post from a guy like Mr. Khan. Let's just start the vaping. Why am I vaping? Have a small 2-minute check. Changed my life. Let's start having those videos that way.
I'm sure we can do that.
I think that would be awesome. We have guys that do circles and splits. So let's take the circles and be clouds away for a short period, just a month side, and say, guys, this is why I did. Musa Ghani, instead of showing us pictures of him on the golf course, he can tell us why he started vaping.
That's an awesome challenge.
All over to you, buddy.
That's an awesome challenge to all the vape shops to maybe take hands with Vaping Saved My Life in some sort of way on that. I'm already running through my mind how we can maybe start helping with that, because that's why we're also live and we're here. We're not here because we try and be cool. We're here to try and help educate people and maybe encourage people who's already vaping, who's like having some upheavals with it in any case. So guys and girls, what we're going to do is, if we want to do the tops tonight, we're not going to discuss it and tell you exactly why we like a certain product. We're just going to name it because we all have our own preferences, and so this is our preferences. So you might think this juice or this device is not that good. So this is our opinions, our free opinion. Nobody paid us or anything for this. But we just thought, Verdict, myself, and Con, it'd be interesting to hear what was our best from last year. So let's start off with fruit juices, and let's quickly go around. We can do Con, Craig, and Verdict in that order, and I'll go last. What was your third favorite fruit juice of 2020?
That's right, because I checked it so much, we'll start with Verdict.
Okay, Verdict.
Oh, so I must give one fruit juice.
Yeah, your third place.
My third place, I vape quite a bit of fruits, and last year and the year before that was an immense amount of juices that were released and fruits. But my third best fruit, I don't know if it falls into the fruit category, is fruity jellies from Trigger Happy Vapes. So there was a bit of fruit and a bit of candy in there. I like that combination. It was quite nice. It's refreshing. So I get a bit of both.
Okay, so you've got a fruit in there. That's a fruit. Okay, Craig, what would you say was number 3 for you? And I know that's going to be a hell of difficult for you.
I'm actually trying to rack my brain with the amount of juices that we actually do vape.
Yeah.
I would say something fruity.
Something fruity with ice or without ice?
I actually like it without ice, Funny enough. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Con?
For me, it was quite difficult because 2020 was broken. We had a 5-month bash. But end of 2020, I tasted something by Hazard, the papaya, the mangosteen papaya. That was quite nice.
Okay. Hazard mangosteen. Okay, my third one on it, also a fruity one, but maybe a blend. My third one is the frozen raspberry. Really like that one, the candiness to it, so that will be my number 3. Verdict, your number 2.
My number 2 was, I think Mr. Khan was talking about his number 3 now, but it's also from Hazard E-Liquids. It was the mangosteen, passion fruit, and lychee. So that took it, we threw a couple of bottles of this, and this was like, it became my weekly type of thing, a couple of days a week. So number 2 for me, 2020.
Hazard, also we Hazard. And Craig, number 2 for you.
I'm just looking at what I've actually vaped. Probably it's going to be any one of the crushed e-liquids,
Okay, crushed e-liquid, okay.
I enjoy all of them. Yeah.
Okay, Con?
My number 2 would be Yo-Yo Sup. Wow.
Okay, on Null. My number 2 is also out of the crush range, but specifically the passion. I really love that one, so that's my number 2. And then we're going to our top ones of 2020 that we've in that year vaped or tasted. So Verdict, your number 1.
Okay, this is extremely difficult, but I like robust, complex fruit flavors. And the one that I've chosen for last year was the Queen of Hearts, Tropical Queen. I enjoy it thoroughly. It will always be in my arsenal of flavors. There we go. That's the one over there, Tropical Queen. So, yeah, the tangerine, the oranges and the pineapples just work for me. Yeah, the amount of ice as well is just quite nice. So that's my number 1, ladies and gents.
Craig.
The problem is my number 1 is my own juice.
That's okay. It's good if it's your own. Exclamation.
Yeah, I've probably vaped 30 liters of that stuff now, and I've always got it in a tank. It's a self-punt, I know, and it's probably the easy way out, but I just...
That's your opinion. That's your opinion. Con.
I've got the tie as number 1. But when I said die, the one flavor I tasted at the end of December, start of January, that came out last year. So I might throw it into my 2021 flavors. That was quenched. But the die that goes with that is something that I wanted to try for the whole of last year. Was just juicy. It's a mango apple pear. You guys know I'm always looking for something that's completely different. So this was quite nice to see an apple and pear combination with a slight mango.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my number one.
So my
I died, but I'm saying because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
my number one is I first want to comment on Verdict's one with Queen of Hearts. Queen of Hearts would have been in one of my top 3, but for me, that's personally only works brilliantly in an RDA for me. So I had to go with something that I can vape in an RDA or RTA. My number one is definitely Quench from Cloudworks. I love that juice. And I think if anybody wants to bring out the fruit flavor this year, they're going to have to beat that one. But that's my opinion. So let's go desserts. Number 3 in desserts.
Okay, I have a question. With regards to desserts, right? Does a type of, like, let's say a shake,
Yes, that
a
works.
creamy shake with milk in it or something? Okay.
Corn and myself spoke. If there's cream in it, works.
Okay. Or am I going first? Okay,
Yes.
my number three. My number three would be yo-yo sap with strawberry. That's why Mr. Kane had it in his
Fruit.
Yeah. Fruits. But I take it as a milkshake.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
perfect. Craig, number 3, dessert.
Nutty Crunch cookie.
Nutty Crunch cookie. Juicy liquids. Okay, awesome. Corn, number 3.
My number 3 would be lemon meringue by 5 points.
5 points. Okay. And my number 3 will be Mr. Custard's Custard Surprise. That was my number 3. Number 2, Verdict.
Oh, number 2 for me would be Morning Glories soda float from Cloud Flavor Labs. I'm gushing this like into my third. Yeah, I've vape quite a bit of these since I came into this profile, and I only found out about it last year, 2020.
Awesome. Craig.
2 would probably be Game Changer from Cloudworks.
Cloudworks. Awesome, yeah. Great
full of
juice.
All
Corn.
I'm doing is MDL game over in here. But my number 2 is Toffee by Volk.
Like a toffee.
To me, this is just
Delicious. Okay, my number 2 is from Nostalgia E-Liquids. It's the marshmallow caramel toffee butter cookie. That's my number 2. I love that. It's an awesome juice. That's my number 2.
It is good. Yeah, it is good actually.
Your number 1, Verdict.
I'm not changing my mind. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It's very difficult to choose. Okay, my number 1. I'm not much of a dessert. That's why my desserts are more into drinks and stuff. But the creamy from Nailed It, the first one, the cereal milk.
Yes.
It's basically it's morning and I probably have it in the evening just before I close my eyes just to taste it. And I'm vaping something else, but I will have some. So yeah, addicted.
Okay, Craig, number 2. No, what's that, number 1 now?
Number 1 now.
Yeah.
One.
It's actually a new juice that we've just taken on by Nailed It E-Liquids. Creamy, I think it's called. Sorry?
The donut or the cookie one?
The cookie one.
Okay.
With the pancake.
Yeah.
Same as Verdict, the cookie one. Okay, that's 2 number 1s.
Yeah. It's
creamy.
We only recently started stocking them in the shop, so it's or we got it in before but I really thoroughly enjoy that juice.
That one's definitely my top 5, but we're only doing 3.
Something else, man.
Con, your number 1?
Okay, with the one I'll put on the tobacco, because we were talking about tobacco, is Brazilian tobacco by Ruthless. So that's my tobacco side, because I enjoy my tobacco. I do also like BCT, but yeah. But my number one goes to Police Sago Custard.
Sago. Okay, and my number one goes to in-house e-liquids, the toffee. Love it.
Hey,
Goes in a RDA, and if you've got the in-house stuff and you have a violator, you have to try this in a violator. It is so really good. So that's for different juice. We're quickly gonna do juice ranges. So let's run through it quickly. It's almost half. Juice range. So that's a range that you've tasted in 2020. Let's go verdict. Your number 3.
of juice range.
Yeah,
is,
juice range.
Okay, the custard from Mr. Custard, from Vapology. That was quite good, and that is my number 3.
Number 3. Big Eye.
As an entire range of juices,
Yes.
number 3, I'm probably gonna go for TKO's juices.
Okay. Mr. Khan.
I'm gonna go with Nailed It Creamy Right.
Okay, nailed it. Okay, my number 3 is strangely enough dessert type of range, bakery. It's the Juice Hustlers cupcake range. I really enjoyed that.
Okay.
Number 2. Verdict.
Buddy.
Oh, number 2 for me.
Focus, my
Oh, we
kid.
had number 2 again. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. You actually got me the spot now. I would say my number 2 would be the Hazard mangosteen. I've never tasted a mangosteen. I haven't eaten a mangosteen, and I experienced it today. And to get it through all of those profiles, you tasted with the other one. So that's definitely my number 2.
Okay, great. Craig.
It's my top 2 are obviously juices that we manufacture. So top second is the cake sale range.
Brilliant. Yeah,
Okay, cake sales. Khan.
I'm gonna go with an Al Yo-Yo sub range as number 2.
Okay, and my number 2 is fruit. It's just juicy. The 4 of them. So now we're at the number 1 spots. Verdict, what's your number 1 range?
I'm gonna have to do Mr. Can's number 3 is the cream me from liquids. Clever mixing, foodie, and I'm impressed with the cereal, with the donut, and the pancake. I know it came out now recently, but it was there.
Cool. Craig.
Yeah, I'm saying, can I give 2 brands? Because
Yeah, you can do 2, yeah. You're the guest, you have the rights.
Yeah, the Crutch range and the Punctuation series. Those are the 2 that I vape the most of, man. Yeah, so probably those two got very tie.
Okay, cool. That's a tie for number 1. Khan.
I'm gonna go with Mr. Custard, one on the price range, and because the Mr. Custard range has a nice, I think there are about 5 different varieties in there, so we'll touch almost every taste bud in those 5. So that's what I.
Okay. Mr. Custard, so my number 1 range is, it had expansion in 2020, and my top range would have to be the frozen range. I just love the raspberry, the lemon meringue, the orange, just worked for me, and that mango actually also very good. So that's my number 1 range for 2020. Let's go quickly. Mods of the year that you used or tried. Verdict, your number 3 mod of 2020.
Oh, I think it's gonna have to be the drag 2.
Okay.
That would be my number 3.
Great.
Yeah, hard
Are we just
working.
talking budget, or are we talking?
And it's reliable. It's reliable.
Local,
Please.
Craig, something affordable.
No, well, That's probably the best setup that you can buy at the moment.
Okay, but is that number 3 or number 2 or number 1?
We thought we were doing a number 1.
No,
we were doing
no, we're doing 3 of them. Number 3.
3.
Oh, so now we know what's number 1.
Drag
X.
Plus. Drag X.
I don't have my drag with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got a Vupu, Mr. Khan.
I'm going to go for the Smock Regal or Rigel, however you pronounce it. Price point, durability. So yeah, it's a nice little mod for about $800, which I think is quite like.
Okay, my number 3 for 2020 is the August GT. Loving this little thing, so that's my number 3. And Verdict, your number 2.
Okay, so my number 2 would be the August GT. Affordable, it looks good, and it does what it needs to do. So that would definitely my number 2.
Okay.
That's
August GT
2 as well, eh?
Okay, number 2 for Craig as well. And Khan. August. Okay, so the August is definitely in all of our top 3.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Little shit that side.
Okay, and my number 2 is the Vandy Vape Gore 21. This thing's going on to 60,000 hits, and I think I've bought it recently from the Sirs. Loving it. Love the battery life. Bit big, but I love it. So that's my number 2. Number 1.
Number
Ready?
1. Okay, so I'm a big fan of the Vaporesso, the Gen. I know it went through from the first version 1 up until the next, but I'm a big fan of the version 1. Besides the 510p, this thing fell. It was submerged underwater, and it never busted. So definitely my daily carry and my number 1.
Okay, Craig.
Vaporesso Gen.
The Paramore.
Side by side. Beautiful.
21,700 piece of freaking art.
Awesome. Mr. Khan.
I'm Mr. Affordable. So for me, price point, Cruise, number 1. Awesome on volts, awesome on wattage, awesome as an MTL device, awesome as a tank. So basically all rounder.
Okay.
One thing I need to tell guys out there, battery life is not so cool. Anything lower than 2 ohms, you're going to suffer. But further than that,
Yeah. Nice device.
she's awesome.
And my number 1 is the ThinkVape Oxo DNA 250C. I'm a DNA fan, so that takes my number 1. I know it's a bit more expensive, but I just really love how it feels in that. Okay, so we're going to finish off with the RDAs and RTAs. So we're going to do just on the RTA and RTAs number 1. So your number 1 RDA and number 1 RTA. So you can do both of them, Verdict. What's your number 1 RDA and what's your number 1 RTA?
Oh, okay. Sorry. So my number 1 Dripper RDA for 2020 is the Asgard Mini. Love the airflow holes, the way the build is, and just the look of it as well. With the beauty ring or without the beauty ring. I have a stainless steel one. And my favorite RTA for this year is the Dead Rabbit V2 with the top airflow. And it has that function. It's very convenient for me, besides the bubble that pushes out there from time and again from filling. Definitely my favorite and my number 1 of last year, the Dead Rabbit V2 RTA.
Okay, Dead Rabbit V2 RTA and the Asgard Mini. Craig.
I've got, remember, I'll dabble in the high end. So I've got.
Give us anything, high end or normal.
The best RDA is that.
Requiem.
Yeah.
Okay, hands down. This little thing here beats most high-end RDAs for 4 times the price. This thing is absolutely epic and is affordable. From a single coil RTA perspective, the Ether, just love this thing. Sometimes it's a bit of a bitch when filling, and then the Arbiter.
the arbiter.
I heard good things about that.
If you set this thing
Come
up
with black
properly,
O-rings, Craig.
nah, it comes with red O-rings, so just fucking live with it. This thing, if you set this thing up properly, there's no RTA that touches this RTA in South Africa at the moment.
Also, I
Okay.
don't want condition I get black O-rings. Sorry.
On my show, I'm going to show them how to set it up because a lot of guys have had problems. On my show on Sunday, I'm going to show people how to set it up properly.
I'll check it out and then I'll
I
buy
have
one.
made your problem. I'm not a fan on RTA.
Okay,
Sorry,
Con.
Craig, are you done?
Yeah, I'm done. I'm finished. Come on.
Sorry, I'm not the RTA person, so I love my RTA, as you guys know, but my RTA for 2020 is definitely, although it came out in 2019, we only got it in 2020 here, is definitely the S-Guard Mini. That's my go-to since Larry Arno introduced me to it. So that was it. Before that was the B2 Dead Rabbit. And then the second RDA is on mine is the XL Pro for me. And obviously, RDAs, I'm not a big fan, but something that got my head last year was definitely the Dead Rabbit B2 RDA.
Okay. Also did rabbit. Okay, so my top RDA is the Asgard Mini. If you watch my reviews, you will see I use it in all. I really love it. I'm thankful that no one who bought it after my recommendation has said to me it sucks. Everybody loves it, so I'm glad about that. But I really, really love it. It's so nice. And then RTA, I was an M25 fan, and had two of them, and I've changed that for the Violator. That's my number one now. Violator for me, when it comes to fruits or desserts, it's one of the RTAs that works superbly with both of them. So I just really like it. I love the airflow. And yes, the Violator will be mine. I wanted to test the Arbiter because I've heard so many good things about it, but that's on my list to check out. So that's our tops for this wrap up of 2020, guys. And yeah, this is our opinions. You will all have your own difference. I know some people who do not like the Violator or do not like the Rabbit or do not like X, Y, or Z. And that's the nice thing about this whole vaping thing is you all have your own personal preference. And this is just our preference and what we really enjoy. And the most important thing is you're not smoking, you're vaping. And that's the one thing we celebrate. And we're looking forward to what 2021 holds with new devices and new juices. Let's wrap this up. We're going to start with our guest. Craig, anything new in the pipelines that we should keep our eyes out for? Steam Masters, Sir Vape. I know you've got a live on Sundays now. You quickly want to tell the people who's on the live still or watching it later about that?
Yeah, I just do on Sunday nights. I've started doing my channel again, but it's more of a help channel. You know, I put a poll up every Monday of stuff that I can do. That I've got stuff here, and I'm going to set up a camera and I'll show you how to wick the thing or coil it to do whatever. If you've got problems with the device and I have the device, I can help you with that. That's pretty much what that channel is going to be about. It's more about help than anything else. I just want to say thanks for having me on the show and thanks for listening to me. It's lekker being here. It's nice being involved in the community again. I've been away for a long period of time with not doing reviews and stuff like that.
It's a pleasure, Craig. I've seen people in the comments talking about you as the godfather of vaping, the OG. So it was a pleasure for me to actually meet you face to face in the chat. Looking forward to talking again to you. Mr. Carr. Now let's go to Verdict. Your greetings.
Yeah, look, every Wednesday, Walkabout Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen, myself and Mr. Khan, we're breaking down some new flavors and we're checking the view of vaping from the consumer's point of view, asking real-time questions in there. So every Wednesday, Walkabout Wednesdays, 8:45, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, if I'm spontaneously dropping videos within the week, new vape stores, some crazy, some new flavors. So come check me out on Cloud Verdict.
Awesome. Thanks, Verdict. Mr. Khan.
Since I'm going to have a shitload of time on my head, I'm going to start having a campaign running with consumers where I'm going to be knocking on doors like Craig and them to get the guys that comes into their stores to start dropping little videos of how vaping changed their lives. and start posting that. I think that's something that we need to be done. I mean, Kurt's doing it from the vape shop. If anyone's willing in the comments to join me, so we can get kick some ass at vape shops to just do a small quick video with the consumer that's coming in, and let's change the face of what we know on social media. I'm not saying don't do your hand checks because that's what it is. Don't blow your codes, but let's just do some videos of, you know what, guys, I quit smoking, I'm vaping. It changed my life. I'm here for an healthier lifestyle.
Awesome. Thank you, Con. From me, I'm be back better next week. We had a little bit of a death in the family, so I took 2 or so weeks off to chill it down just to handle that. I'll be back next week with some reviews, so I'm looking forward to get back into it again. Got some nice juices that still needs to be reviewed. And I just want to thank every juice maker, distro, or anybody that supports myself, Con, or Verdict. I think it makes it for us possible to live out our passion and help to educate the community and introduce products to people on the social media platform. Guys and girls, this was episode 3. We'll be back in March. We'll get together, Khan and Verdict, myself, and set some dates out. We had a bit of a crazy beginning of the year, so we'll be back in March with hopefully 2 shows. And with that said, oukies and vrouwtjies, Verdicts, what your tagline at the end? That's the
verdict, y'all.
Okay, oukies and vrouwtjies, massa kinders, have a lucky evening, and we'll see you all on the next episode of Talking Vape. Have a good evening, everyone.